Phone carriers are transitioning from copper wire to fiber networks, but industry experts are worried about what this could mean for those living in rural areas.
13 News Now reporter Jimmy Lee joins us in the studio. And Jimmy, there are concerns that some people will lose service, leaving them unable to connect to 911.
That's right, Janet. So in a lot of these rural areas, it's really difficult to get cell phone service. So many of these residents rely solely on landlines to make phone calls, and important phone calls like 911. The expert I talked to today says companies like Verizon do have alternatives for this, but they're not reliable. And he believes this could become a real public safety issue.
Verizon has announced it's going to get rid of its copper cable in various markets, including 2 here in Virginia Beach this coming year.
Replacing copper wire networks with fiber. The FCC just made it easier for companies like Verizon and AT&T to make that transition.
And what they plan to do is convert you over to Fios.
The deregulation allows phone carriers to tear down copper wires without replacing it with another reliable service. That could be a big problem for people in rural areas who don't have cell service and depend on landlines.
In the past, Verizon, because of the copper line regulations, was mandated to provide wire to these locations, all right, for a matter of public safety. And now by abandoning this, they actually are bypassing that regulation.
Chuck Hartman has been in the telecommunications industry for 35 years. He says Verizon does have an alternative called VoiceLink, but it's not reliable.
This VoiceLink that they intend to put out there is not guaranteed to reach the 911 in the municipality that you need to have 911 services at. It won't allow things like medical alert devices, fax machines, and security systems to operate with that particular service.
This year, Verizon is making the transition in the Indian Lake subdivisions and areas off of Great Neck Road. Hartman doesn't think Virginia Beach will suffer much because other carriers will pick up the slack. But areas like Chuckatuck and Suffolk, he's really worried about.
Now, I've been in contact with Verizon about this issue today, and a spokesperson told me that customers who transition from copper to fiber will not have any issues when it comes to their phone service. But I asked about those people who live in the rural areas where fiber has not been installed. What happens to those customers? I am still waiting to get a definitive answer on that. Jimmy Lee, 13 News Now.